Empowerment, dignity, confidence. Those are not words that are often associated with our generation, as if making a difference is suddenly reserved for when you're old, or being an inspiration or role model in our 21st century suddenly expired. You see, society's view of us is restricted to being 2D. It's restricted to being the duck face, being a Hollywood cliche, or messing around. And if I or we dare to want to break out of that stereotype, we are forced into the box of you're too young and you're too inexperienced. As if suddenly making a difference requires you to have a benchmark of age, qualifications, or a certificate that rubber stamps the notion that society has given you the permission that yes, now you can. Yet, ironically, society is always telling us that the youth are the future leaders of tomorrow, arguably further socializing us into that box of you're too young and you're too inexperienced to do so now, but if you wait a couple of more years, then we'll give you the go-ahead. But I want to dare to ask, as cliche as it may sound, why must we wait for tomorrow when we can be the future leaders of today? You know, we've all heard the age-old question of, what work experience have you got? When frankly, most of the time that we're answering that question, that's exactly what we're trying to apply for, work experience. And you know, as you guys can see by the fact that I always have a flower in my hair, I don't always like to play by society's conventions. So I want to ask you to join me as we dare to break out of that box. As I say that we don't actually always need work experience to be the change and the difference that changes somebody else's life. You see, work experience can only enhance or improve on what's already there. Because you see, we already have the greatness within us. You see, society tries to define this one-shape-fits-all box for us, but I want to dare and say that you know what, you are already great. You are more than capable as you are right now to be that difference. You see, at the age of 20, I have never, ever had any formal work experience in philanthropy. Yet today, as hands and feet, we already have put in a borehole, sanitation campaigns. We've built a counseling center and safe house for girls who are affected by early marriages and FGM. And I'm also running my own social enterprise, which seeks to just be that change and empower girls. But you know what? It didn't always start like this. Like, I'd like to say that it started with this huge, big story and huge, big epiphany, but unfortunately, life is not that fun. It was the end of high school, and there's this huge, big culture in Kenya that by the end... Actually, you know what, I'm gonna stop. This feels way too rehearsed, and that's not me. You see, the reason why we started this project is not because we could. Everybody told us that we couldn't. And everybody told us that you're way too young to be doing this. What you're doing is way too dangerous. And my favorite, that you're way too young to do this. And yes, we were young. But you see, I want to challenge you that all you have to be is willing. You see, I remember the first time when we started this, we were just 15 years old. And we went up to Samburu. And let me contextualize Samburu for you. There is no running water in Samburu. There is no electricity. And frankly, they only just got phone signal a couple of weeks ago. But that is where we started this project. You see, how this started is that it was the end of high school. And in Kenya, there's this huge, big culture that at the end of high school, you go to the coast and you get absolutely smashed and you don't remember an entire week of your lives. And we were like, okay, we looked at it and we're like, this is the last time we're all going to be together. And we're like, actually, that's not us. We want to, at least for nothing else, remember the last time that we're all together as a friendship group. So we started looking around. At the same time, we're also trying to get our Duke of Edinburgh, which is our service award. So we're like, okay, let's kill two birds with one stone. So we looked around and we found these missionaries who were in our school, and they had a project up north in North Samburu. And they invited us to come along with them for the week. And let me just contextualize Samburu for you. So I want you to just close your eyes, just block out everything, and I want you to visualize. So that stereotypical picture that society always gives us about Africa. Like, guys, it's okay. I know we've all seen it. You know one that comes up in all the advertisements, all of it. You know that one of the desert, the drought, that. Now I want you to open your eyes, because that is just close to what Samburu is like. You see, there's no running water, there's no electricity, they have no phone signal, and it is so far removed from our so-called first world problems. But that's where we were going. And when we first arrived, we were like, oh my goodness, what have we gotten ourselves into? But you know what? We were excited. We were like, you know what? Let's get excited. Let's psych ourselves up. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And then that's when the missionaries that we're staying with invited us to the neighboring village of Kaisipo. And they were like, okay, do you guys want to do something? We're like, yeah. Okay, so we went to Kaisipo because there had been a borehole there that had been broken for the past 3 years. And because of that, the women had to trek over 50 kilometers just to get a glass of water, some clean water. And guys, I want you guys to help me out with this talk. Let's make it interactive. Do I genuinely look like I know how to use a screwdriver or a wrench for that matter? Like, honestly, like, shout it out, yes or no? Yes? No? Well, the person who said, no, you are absolutely right. I had no clue. So here we are, about 4 15-year-olds, a couple of adults, a toolbox, and we're super excited. We're like, let's do this. But then, I kid you not, we worked tirelessly the whole afternoon. And the minute the water began to flow, so did the tears from these women's eyes. Because, you see, for us it was an afternoon of hard work. But for them, they were imagining the fact that they no longer had to climb up mountains just to get clean water. And then an old man came up to us and he was like, why? Why would you, children of another tribe, why would you come here to help us? You see, he wasn't struck by the fact that we knew what we were doing. No, he wasn't even struck by our inexperience because, frankly, we were fumbling around the entire day. What struck him was the fact that we even bothered to show up. The fact that we bothered to trek that 14-hour drive away from the capital to just show up and just be there. And that's what my message of this talk is wanting to tell you, is that, you know what, you don't actually need that work experience. You don't actually need what society keeps telling you. The you that you are now is more than enough. I'm a student just like you, and what we did is what society tells us we shouldn't have done. All that we had was our hands and our feet, and for that old man and for those women, that was more than enough. You see, to make a difference, all you need is actually just to be willing. You see, the reason we go back is not because we have the money. No. I go back because of these women and because of these men. You see, as you guys can tell, I'm a bit of a vocal person. Like, even when I'm not nervous, I talk a lot. Like, I talk a lot, like, for real. And so when we went into the high school, I guess when we're running the sanitation campaigns, you could say that I did talk a lot. And I kept talking. And after that, we kicked out the boys and we're like, okay, we want to now talk to the girls, we want to have an honest conversation, we want to say things that shouldn't traumatize you, so go. And we sat there. And we let these girls ask us any single question that they had. Whether it was about life, whether it was about boys, relationships, you name it, we talked about it. And then after which, I will never forget, these 3 girls came up to me and they asked me, how is it that you have boys in your group and you could talk? And then another girl piped up, yeah, how is it that they could listen to you? And the 3rd girl asked me, yeah, how is it that you are a woman and you can be a leader? And my heart sank. Because guys, how is it that it is the 21st century and girls are still asking this question, not 100 years ago, but just 4 years ago? And then I remembered, wait a minute, the context of this Samburu community that we're working with. You see, in this Samburu community, a girl is meant to be seen and not heard, lest she becomes a commodity in the future. Or how about the fact that we were standing in a girls' high school that has Form 1 to Form 4, which is the equivalent of Year 9 to Year 12, yet there were only 50 girls in that entire school. And how about the fact that after which half of those girls were gonna walk to the neighboring school and pick up their kids, and a quarter of those were married out of no choice of their own? You see, in the entire 40-year history of this school, they had never had a graduating class of girls. You see, these girls had never been told that it was okay to dream. It was okay to hold your head up high. And in fact, most of the time, they were being told the otherwise. Keep your head low. And if you didn't, you were punished. You see, just last year, a woman that we know was punished for being what the elders considered way too vocal. And you know what her punishment was? Her punishment was to be gang raped. You see, this is not a fictional story. This is someone that I know because she did not submit. Yet despite this, last year, they had their first graduating class of girls. And that is the class. But you see, it's not because we paid their school fees. It's not because we actually even gave them answers to the test. No. It's because we told them that it's okay to dream. It is okay to hold your head up high, something that they had never heard before. It's because we told them that, you know what, let's get to know you and you can get to know us. You see, society always told us that what you're doing, you are way too young. But instead, we took our age, we took our youngness and used that as a tool. Because we told them, you know what, I am 16 and you're 16. I believe in me and I believe in you, so why won't you? You see, society tells us you're too young. But so what if we're too young? Let's use that youngness to change the world today. To celebrate, the community invited us to a wedding. And you see, this is a wedding of a Moran. And the Moran is a warrior of the community. So he stood there in all his warrior elegance. And ladies, he looked tall, dark, and handsome, and even had the sword to look at it. And I tell you, he was that Prince Charming of the future, of the past, I think. And we was like, us, like the girls in the group, we were excited. We're like, ooh, he's cute. So then my best friend asked, okay, so who is the lucky lady? Who is the bride? And we expected to see someone who is as old and beautiful and as elegant as he is. But then instead we were pointed to the corner. and there sat a 7-year-old girl. And you could tell by the fact that she was playing with her doll that she had no clue that we were all there for her wedding. And as much as we wanted to, we couldn't stop that wedding. We couldn't protect her. But we made a vow that we were going to protect others like her. So 1 year later, we returned. We went to the river and we dug. We shifted soil and we made bricks and we stirred cement. And today stands a counseling center and safe house where these girls can come and be safe. And today there are 70 girls in that center who probably would have been married off. Because you see, the thing is, when we started this project, I didn't know how to use a wrench. I didn't even know how to use a screwdriver, but when we came back, I used a shovel. I didn't even know how to stir cement when we started, but I used my voice and I spoke. And that's what I'm here to actually just tell you. The you that you are now is more than capable. You are more than enough, even if all you have is your hands and your feet. You see, you don't need anything else. You see, that part of you that you think is so insignificant. You see, because I used to be shy of actually speaking what was on my mind, but I used my voice. But I didn't think my voice could make a difference. But I'm here to tell you that part of you is the best part of you, because it is a part of your greatness. We started this project when I was 15 years old, and all that I had was this. So my question to you is, how old are you now? And what are you willing to use? It's all down to you, because we are all more than enough. Thank you.